And we're live. Test, test, test. Trying to get this mic working. Can you hear me? Test, test, test. Test, test, test. And we're live. Hello and welcome to the 132nd episode of Hex Therapy Live. I'm your host, Maddie ALLin, and today there is a lot of news to be had in the HEX, PulseChain, and PulseX ecosystem. Apparently, there was a sacrificed project that was a scam, and apparently the God Whale had sacrificed $8 million worth of HEX to it. So I'm going to break down the chain analysis for you today and try to cover this story as it's developing here. And, that'll be the quote unquote therapy for today. So buckle up, hit the like and subscribe button, and welcome to Hex Therapy Live.
It's from Maddie ALLin of HexTherapy.live. I like Maddie. Maddie tries to make the world a healthier place. He's a mental health professional. He's done research.
Big videos on sudden wealth syndrome.
There's nothing that a human being can do better than try and heal his fellow man.
Maddie ALLin's got that covered. He does emotional, feel-good, mind management, emotion stuff, like, as his gig, because he's a therapist. That's what he does for a living. Like, he helps heal people.
Okay, hit the like and subscribe button if you appreciate this information being shared to you in a timely manner, or if you appreciate that I've been live streaming every Thursday night for the past 132 weeks. I'm just loading up my screens here to make sure everybody can see what's going on. Just a moment. All right, here we go. So it doesn't matter where I am in the world. I'm always live streaming here at the same time on Thursday nights. Earlier today, I did a great stream with Cultivate Crypto, and that was really exciting. And we talked about a lot of good stuff. I gave some updates on Time Pays Me and a bunch of other stuff. But the story that we are reporting on right now is breaking news. And I'm going to bring up the Twitter here to show people what it is that I saw. And it's from your friend Sami, who I guess was doing some chain analysis. I have that pulled up here as well. And he says, just in, BankX has just rugged their PulseChain sacrifice. He says the God Whale, who is the person who has the most HEX out of any user, gave them 800 million HEX. And now they instantly rugged because they caught him. I called them scammers. It turns out they were true. They exploited their own stables. So I'm not exactly sure what he means by this tweet, but somebody here is saying, "Morning, Maddie. Hope BankX is not a scam and it's all fun." Well, I went to the PulseChain, to the PulseCon, even though I had told people that the organizer of PulseCon, Tony, was a scammer himself because he had tried to embezzle money from me at the HEX conference. I had gotten the money back. I had successfully completed the HEX conference doing it all myself. And then Tony had started his own conference to try to compete or whatever. And he ended up stealing, I don't know, over $100,000 from the HEX community based on that. So the community had come together and thrown a bunch of parties at the same time that PulseChain was supposed to have its PulseCon. This was about 9 months ago. It was in September of last year. And at that meetup that I went to, because I wanted to support everybody who had bought a ticket, even though they weren't getting exactly what they were promised. the founder of BankX through a meetup that I attended. And when I talked to him about his idea for BankX, I instantly realized that it was a scam. And I even said that once on this channel. So, before y'all go putting millions of dollars into things, I don't know, pay somebody to like listen to all my streams or something. But look, it can happen to anybody that this type of thing happens where you sacrifice for something. It's gone. When you sacrifice, it's gone. You're not expecting anything in return. And but what I can tell you, at least from my own 2 cents, is that the reason why BankX sounded like a scam to me is that the founder was claiming to have some sort of stablecoin that was backed by silver. Now, the reason why you can't have a stablecoin backed by silver is because stablecoins rely on, unfortunately, trust with the legacy financial system. And the legacy financial system doesn't seem to me to really like silver all that much. And, if you have one guy controlling the silver, he can always run away with the money. That's called a honeypot. That's called not crypto, right? Stable coins are not true crypto, but there's a reason why a handful of them are accepted, because they have some sort of institution behind them. But if you just have some random guy who's holding all the silver and holding all the crypto and all that kind of stuff, then it doesn't make sense to me why that would be trustworthy. Now, at the end of the day, there's trust in everything we do. You trust that your internet service provider isn't spying on you. Maybe they are. I don't know. There's lots of examples of trust being baked into economic systems. But in this case, the way that BankX was described to me by the founder at his own meetup or his own PulseCon party didn't make any damn sense to me at all. And all the other people that worked for him that were explaining it to me weren't making any sense at all either. So it's unfortunate that so much hex was sacrificed to something that it doesn't seem to have any real basis. Now, that being said, I mean, if somebody is a scammer and they have a bad idea, sometimes they could have a better idea and they could actually follow through on the project. So I'm not saying that BankX can't be something that would work or something, but it just didn't make any sense to me when it first started. So that's why I didn't sacrifice for it. That's why I warned people at least once on my live stream that it just doesn't make sense to back a stablecoin with silver and then act like you're going to make money off that or something. It's really weird. I hope Godwill can recover. Well, the bigger issue at play here is that if we look at the chain analysis, it looks like BankX has a bunch of HEX. Like, is that oh, let me click on where. So this is where the 830 million. Let me see if you can see it on the screen here. You can't. I'm gonna have to reshare my screen to show you the chain analysis, and we'll get to the discussion of what this means. But I'm not too panicked. I'm a little bit concerned, but that's the whole point of hex therapy, is to help people make sense and get the do your own research and that sort of thing. So this is the ether scan for the address that Sami posted was related to the BankX sacrifice, and I cross-checked that by going to the BankX sacrifice webpage, and confirmed that there was a significant amount of hex, the 86 million. Sorry, the 830 million. So that's about $6 to $8 million worth of hex right there. So if we click here on the address that the hex was sent to, what we can see is that the holding in that account, which I'm assuming is the BankX sacrifice address, on the Ethereum side is holding $7.1 million worth of HEX. Now, if we look at that same address on OtterScan, we can see that it holds 1 billion pulse, which that's about $100,000 worth of pulse, I believe, at today's prices of 0.00011. So that's much less concerning in terms of dumpamentals than all this EHEX that's sitting here. And from what I can tell, so I guess we could do a deeper chain analysis of these addresses. There's a website called fatty.io that will be able to tell us what the assets are on these different chains in aggregate, as well as the, how much PHEX is involved in this whole thing. It'd be good to know. So I'm just seeing this as you guys are. It looks like assets on Pulse are only $147. Huh. So I wonder if that Pulse moved or if it's not picking it up correctly. Looks like it has $147 worth of PHEX, but where's the Pulse chain that I can see here on OtterScan? Yeah, so something isn't adding up there, but basically at the end of the day, the biggest headline has to do with these $7 million worth of HEX sitting here. And then people are also reporting, which I see cryptographics putting here in the live stream chat. He says that the BankX group supposedly claimed that they were exploited 15 hours ago, but it's unclear what people are saying with the instant rug narrative. The fact of the matter is that there's a lot of rumors flying around, and it's a really good opportunity for you to remember that you have to look on chain for this. The best way is to verify, right? Because even what Sami was saying here, it's a little bit hard for me to understand. I think he had a couple of other tweets that were more understandable to me. Here he said 49 minutes ago, he says, the unfortunate situation now is that Godwill gave 800 million HEX to scammers. And he says that a risky solution is for RH to put 4.1 million at 0.005 and let the scammer hit down into it to exit. This might send the wrong signal to other Pulse Chain projects to run. Yeah. Basically, the market is going to have to decide how cheap the price of HEX wants to go in the short term. But again, I don't really think that should affect a really long-term mindset. And we know that there are two types of individuals in the HEX ecosystem, is people who are looking more short-term because they need to cash out soon, which is always the riskiest position to be in when it comes to crypto. And I could sympathize with people who are in that situation. Maybe you wanted to buy the dip because you really are a long-term believer, but you also wanted to take a short-term profit. Well, that rarely works out in the ideal way that you hope it will. And so really what this is teaching us is, anything like HEX was designed to be a long-term hold and then to have people speculating in the short term. And speculators, people who are day trading or weekly trading, it's easy to get wrecked. So I guess the point of caution here is that the 800 million HEX that's sitting there, hasn't been sold yet. And so it seems extra risky to be buying HEX in the super short term. But once those coins are dumped onto the market, and if people are setting like small limit orders in order to catch any dip, this could be one of the opportunities of your lifetime when it comes to hex. You know, it's the amount of 800 million hex. Like there were 1 billion hex released every day for the first 350 days of hex. Now that was different market conditions, of course, and some of that might have been recycled in order to make the hex more scarce. But at the end of the day, this 800 million, you know, it's going to have to get eaten up somehow. And so it's just occurring to me as we're speaking in real time. Yeah, if somebody set a super low limit order and these scammers end up dumping the hex, somebody could get filled at the bottom of a red candle and just get millions and millions and millions of hex for less than pennies on the dollar. So that's kind of an interesting game theory that'll play out here. The scammers could hold on to the hex and sell it slowly over a long period of time, therefore creating market uncertainty going forward. But again, you would hope that they would just, you know, get all the pain out of the way quick and easy. I think it definitely presents a short-term challenge, but at the end of the day, you know, a lot of people in hex, they have a timeline that's much longer duration, and this stuff is so unpredictable. You really don't know what the short-term things are going to be. You don't know what the effects are going to be of something like this. You really don't. So I appreciate Sami doing this this reporting, you know, and he always does a great job. Yeah, he says their genius idea is a stablecoin backed by silver, which I just explained is a bad idea. Sami is saying they did a fake self-exploit of their 2 million stablecoins, sweeping and banning Telegram. They have a fake Godwell in there too. They are dumping hex. Sad state for PulseChain. They have 800 million hex. So this is a story that's developing as we speak. And so some of the details are going to be a little bit unclear. There's going to be rumors flying around, as I said before. Sami's also saying that the Hex Godwell has $1 billion in Hex, but Hex only has a $10 million USDC value in the liquidity pools, so he can't exit even if he tried. What he can do is to help pump the Hex ecosystem and promote it. That way he can eventually grab liquidity from perpetual swaps, over the counter transactions, money markets like Aave, etc. And this helps explain why the Godwell would be sacrificing money into different projects. I've heard rumors before that he or she sacrificed for Texan token and for Mintra and maybe one or two more. And so that before now has been seen as a very positive thing for the ecosystem. And it's something where a whale can't really exit using normal strategies because they would crash the price against themselves. And that's part of the market dynamic that allows crypto to go up so high and down so high, down so low, is the low liquidity, right? I'll get to the questions here in the chat as we continue to break this live story. Nobody saw this coming. There was another address that sacrificed $1 million for PulseX. Sami speculating that the God Whale could be a gold or silver bug and wanted to trust BankX. Apparently, Hextronaut also helped to break the story. As far as I can tell so far, I'm not really seeing on Fatty the tokens that I'm seeing on Otterscan, so that's kind of curious and strange. But I'm not seeing that PHEX is affected. Of course, although having your liquidity, whether it's on chain or off chain, having the same large holders of Pulse, EHEX, PHEX, and PulseX causes, you would assume, causes those assets to move together. And so in the short term, you might see more volatility in all those areas. Okay, now I got to figure out, is this the God wallets, the God whale's address here? Yeah, so the God whale has $69 million worth of assets on Pulse. But if we're looking at what's presumed to be the BankX address, it does not have significant assets on PulseChain. So that's somewhat of a relief. Although, again, as I said, things are likely to move together. I've never heard of BankX. Was it a SEC? Yes. They weaseled their way in at PulseCon. What's up, HP Morgan? Good to see you there. Thank you for covering this story. Maddie was wondering what the deal was. Yeah, so the price of HEX falling so far doesn't look to be related to the actual BankX people dumping. It appears to be people who have looked on chain and maybe they're still worried about, earlier in the day, Richard said, apparently in a tweet, he said, the market will decide. And so far the market has said that PHEX is worth 1.3 EHEX. And so some people may have started dumping EHEX based on that. Although, remember, the market deciding means that it can swing back the other way. It's it's something, and I was saying this in the Cultivate Crypto stream earlier. Before there was talk about parity, which I spoke against heavily before Game Theory Gang broke up. Sorry, before Quant Gang broke up, that was like one of the main sticking points. Is I said that it doesn't make all that much sense to have parity. Then, months and months later, Johnny, convinced me that it could have been a thing, and it still could be a parity between EHEX and PX. But the tweet from Richard today that's saying, well, the market's going to decide. Look, do you remember the narrative about EHEX and PHEX, about any Pulse chain copy versus its Ethereum counterpart? Do you remember what the narrative was or what the use case was before people were talking about parity, before people got obsessed with expecting things from the sacrifice wallet or from the whales? The narrative was it would bring in traders to have extreme volatility between the two pairs. That at one moment one's worth more, then the other one's worth more, or that the price swings on the Pulse chain side are going to be heavier. Well, I can tell you, just looking at like my $200, purchase of P Pepe, that has seen wild volatility compared. Probably, I don't really look at the one on Ethereum, but I can already tell, with it 5xing on Pulse chain and then, dropping 25% and then being up 15% in one day. Like that was the whole point. That's part of the whole point of Pulse chain. There's lots of different points to it. Having low fees, check. Having a system state copy where you can create liquidity pairs, or you can ratio trade between the EHEX pair. That's part of what this whole system was designed for. And so the reason I'm telling you this is because the price of EHEX not matching the price of PHEX, that's something that we expected, right? And it could be a feature, not a bug. And you might find that there are lots of other PRC20s and ERC20s that don't match exactly in price. And that's part of what's going to attract people to bring value to PulseChain, is because they're going to want to speculate. If the price of P-Link, for example, or P-Uni, or whatever it is, I'm racking my brain, trying to think of the ones we've talked about over the years. If the value of those start off at 1% of the value of the main thing, then you only need 1% of people to come over and speculate. And then, the volatility starts going and the price goes up and down a lot when people are trading these copies. So the moral of the story again is Richard is still saying the market will decide. He says the market has decided so far that it's 1.3 to 1. Sorry, that it's 1.3 EHEX for each PHEX. Well, how did it start off? It started off that you could get more PHEX for one EHEX, right? So we're already seeing, and will that flip back, or will it stay? Will it diverge forever? We don't know. PHEX is the first thing. Well, yeah, PHEX is the first token that has outmatched its Ethereum counterpart so far in price. We don't know what that's going to do in the future. Now, with BankX having $7 million worth of EHEX, that's a problem in the short term for EHEX. But again, it still doesn't mean that EHEX is dead. You don't know what they're going to do with those coins. But the market is going to be concerned that they will dump. And so the price of EHEX might take another dip. Especially if they sell again, that could be the limit order opportunity of lifetime. And guess what? We have limit orders on on the Ethereum side of things, right? So the way that I'm seeing this is there's more and more meat on the bone over on the EHEX side of things. There are a lot of people who already have a lot of EHEX and they want to chase the shiny new thing. So it's no guarantee what'll happen in the short term. But I think that in the long term, EHEX, once it finds its floor, I think it'll rise like a phoenix from the ashes. So that'll be really interesting to see how that plays out. Because I'm sitting more in a long term position anyway on Hex. My Hex is time locked. I don't have all that much liquid Hex. My liquid Hex that I have, I'm not going to do anything with it. Doing nothing is a good strategy. Staying calm is a good strategy. Using dry powder to set limit orders so that you could catch a severe dip if BankX dumps all of their $7 million worth of Hex. That might be what I do when I get off the stream. Understanding that there's going to be more volatility on PulseChain and PulseX theoretically and PHEX in the short term. It might not change your strategy in terms of dollar cost averaging. It might give you more opportunity, or you might hate it. You might have been planning to cash out, and now you're worried about the price in the short term. So those are kind of the scenarios that people might be in. Somebody's saying they got hit with a flash loan exploit. That could have been their own exploit that they made, or they could have really gotten hit with it. I think these people are scammers, so I don't believe anything that they say. Scammers would tell you that they got hacked when they really didn't. But that's to be seen. Another thing, somebody says there's a new Richard Hart tweet. We might go check that out. the founder of BankX just tweeted, "What's going on, everyone? Anything happening with BankX?" What? That's weird. Let's see what Richard has to say. Richard replied to Sami where he summarized recent HEX events. Let me throw this up. So Sami's talking about 1 hour ago, Godwell gave 800 million HEX to a scammer project called BankX. And Richard says down here, you'd have to be pretty stupid to follow a scam on Twitter and wonder why so many people get unfollowed. So I assume Richard is talking about BankX in that case, and probably not throwing shade at Sami. Then Richard also said 24 minutes ago, if you get scammed or give your coins to someone else, quite often they sell the coins, quite often hurting the price of something you might like. Okay, so I like how Richard is just telling it how it is. He's not shying away from this. He's telling people exactly what could happen without saying what will happen. And, in this case, it seems like he's implying that the Godwell got scammed. But he's quote tweeting Sami's thing, so he's maybe basing it off of that source of information. So I want to actually go to something that Richard said earlier in the week, because I think it's a really fantastic point of view for your hex therapy today. It's the one where he was talking about if somebody spiked the price up, then some people would be really emotionally wrecked. Even though they probably shouldn't be. Wow, there's been a lot going on this week, hasn't there? Here we go. So Richard said, innovative ideas. You can tie your feelings to price based on time instead of percent. It helps you understand that when something was not so long ago a thing, it can be that thing again. As a thought experiment, in a world where everyone is sensitive to dips, imagine a whale market bought and then sold a minute later, making a giant move up and down. So in this case, we could consider what happens if BankX dumps and then the price goes down, and then a minute later it goes back to where it was or close. Anybody who's reacting to the price on a moment by moment basis is going to be emotionally wrecked. They're going to ruin their personal relationships. Their mood's going to be wrecked. They're going to be an emotional prisoner of the price. That is really the price is always just a passing price. If you're not hitting the button at that moment, the number on the screen isn't real. The Godwell can be seen to have $1 billion worth of hex, but at any given moment, if you don't hold it, you can only sell it for about $10 million of what's in the liquidity pools. That doesn't mean that a few minutes later, people wouldn't come back in. If the price of hex went close to zero, it would get bought up pretty quick, I would imagine, to a price of what the market really values it at. And then in a year from now and in 10 years from now, the price is going to, again, be based on what the market values it to be. If you look at the price of Bitcoin, it's done lots of dips. It's done, 7 or 10, 70 to 80% dips. Dips are in the game. If you're talking about coins outside of Bitcoin, 95% dips are in the game. 99% dips can be in the game. And that could leave you feeling like you're in horror if you didn't actually realize, well, the whole time that everybody has been in hex, the price wasn't always 55 cents. I know that some people bought at 55 cents, but there's a lot of people who bought at a lot of different prices. And so instead of basing your emotions and basing your analysis on what the price is at the moment, another way to look at it is to step back, to zoom out, and to say, just to. So, like in Richard's example, you could imagine somebody maybe market bought $10 million worth of hex, and so the price temporarily went to maybe $1 or $20 per coin, and then it could immediately go back, right? Because the automated market maker is filling the price, and people's limit orders are hitting, and people are rushing in to sell their hex to whatever price they think is fair. And so it's really, really fascinating to think, like, if everybody got it stuck in their mind that hex was worth $20, even though it was only there for a second, and not everybody could execute at that price, and not everybody would want to sit in front of their computers every day, every second, just hoping that something would happen when really it's very unlikely. Or you could just set a limit order and be happy with what you get. But the point is, you could have this fake sense of what the price was going forward if you were one of those guys that based it on, oh, hex was worth $20 for one block for 10 seconds. It was worth $20, or whatever I said, $20. So if you felt like hex was down 99.999% because you got that price stuck in your head, then you wouldn't recognize the opportunity to buy it when it did dip to dollar cost average, to manage your expectations, to not put in more than you're willing to lose, and to realize that dips are in the game, that pain is in the game, and that's part of what makes it possible to have the price go up so much. If people don't sell when you're 99% down, and if people don't sell when you're 10x up, then you can't get to those higher prices. You can't get to those lower prices. You can't leave meat on the bone for the next guy to get a good deal. And that's what makes a market, is a willing buyer and a willing seller. And willing is a generous term in this case. Hopper says, send the SWAT team. Andrew says, glad I missed the BankX sack. Yeah, might be too soon to be laughing, but clear proof the God whale is not RH. Good point. I got one backed by gold, says Jonathan. Now send me hex. I would not recommend that. I only sacked for RH projects. Okay. If you get scammed or you give your coins to someone else, quite often they sell the coins, quite often hurting the price of something you might like. Anything except richer products equals vaporware. Wow, BankX. I almost got in on that, but was looking at it and said, no, not for me. Well, you heard me say it. It might have been on one of the first Game Theory Gang episodes we ever did. I think somebody had brought it up, and I was clearly saying, even though most people would be polite and would be like, oh, I went to their party, it was great, I'm not really sure, ha ha ha, or something. No, I was like, that's a scam. Those are scammers. I told people not to talk about it. And I did say on one live stream, at least, that BankX is a scam. I might have said it on two. Somebody could go back and look at the receipts. Crazy that back in 2017, there were lots of these types of scams, like gold tied to crypto or silver or whatever. I never go for them because I know they're all scams, right? Because you can't digitize something that's physical without having to figure out who is going to custody it. With a digital asset, you can hold your own coins, you can hold your own keys, you can hold your own backing, right? It's the same problem with buying paper gold and silver. It's like, not your keys, not your coins. Like, and in the case of gold, not your coins, not your coins. How about that? How about that new quote for you all? Not your coins, not your coins. because gold and silver doesn't have keys. And if somebody tells you it does, they're lying. Give us the money first, then we'll build the product. No good. Yeah, I don't let people post links if you're not a moderator. Sorry. I just have to protect people from scams. Links can be dangerous. Pray for God well. Bristology, what's up? Don't touch anything except Richard Hart products. All else is noise. The 4 coins, Hex, Pulse, PulseX, Incentive. Next bull run will be disgusting with gains. I hope he dumps while the price is down. We survived the Hex 19 hack. We will survive this. Hey, Bristology, I like how you're thinking. In that case, that was 100 million Hex at least. Now, some of that went to the emergency end stake fees, but you're right, and that's a great point that I haven't covered yet, is that we survived the largest hack in Hex history. This seems to be maybe the second. Although in terms of what's liquid after emergency end stakes, this might be the biggest. And as I said earlier, as a caveat, like, theoretically, maybe BankX doesn't dump the coins and maybe they find some useful product or something, but I find that highly unlikely. As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, we're going to 10,000x again, boys. Yeah, well, if the price dumps hard enough, anything's possible. Superman said this address is not a god whale he knows, just someone with a large account. Interesting. That's useful information. Thank you, Charity. Large wallet doesn't mean it's god whale. Good point. And that's part of the rumors that can get thrown around really fast. You'll notice that I titled this stream BankX Scam because I met the founder and I believe that it's a scam. I did not title this, God will messed up, because I don't know that to be true necessarily. I wish I had 10 million thrown away to me. I'd at least make use of it and build an empire. Does this mean Pulse and PulseX are the better investment? I can't tell you what the better investment is because I don't know the future. Even though I have a DeLorean, it doesn't quite work that way currently. I'm out of plutonium or whatever. But yeah, at the end of the day, I think that for me, I'm looking at dollar cost averaging into Pulse, into PulseX, but I could see, as I said earlier in the stream, that there could be some more volatility on those because they have offline liquidity between each other, and so there's like Hart's law, except for things that are, it's like instead of things being interchangeable for each other being the reason why cryptos move up and down together, it's like if all the people who own the most Hex also own the most Pulse, who are market participants, then they can move together because their liquidity is bonded by the people who hold the assets. Hey, this is a lot of great alpha. I just invented some corollary of Hart's law or whatever. Pull up the code and I'll tell you, says Hugh Hefner. Hefner. Don't forget what Richard said. PulseChain will bring tons of scams and rugs. Don't get lured into that crap. Scammer didn't get Hex on PulseChain, right? So I guess that's the silver lining. Pardon the pun. Wow, too early. Hex on Eric, but hey, I guess some people are laughing. Yeah, and that's what I confirmed when I looked at the blockchain. although I don't know all of their addresses and I can't say if they had something else lined up. Yes, PLS and PLSX are the safer and better investment. Like I said, I didn't have any liquid hex to be like dumping in this situation. I do hold a little bit of liquid hex on Ethereum and on PulseChain, mostly in Maximus DAO tokens, and I haven't touched those. I'm not putting all my dry powder in just yet because I think that the price could continue to suffer. You know, the hex hasn't been dumped to my knowledge by BankX yet. So right now, the price going down is basically based on everybody anticipating such move, I'd imagine. This is the BSC, Binance Smart Chain scan link I found that I'm referring to. I could be wrong. Okay. Sami was retweeting from Hextronaut. RH tweet. Is there another one? Maybe you're referring to the one previously. How do people know that Godwill gave to the scammers? So far, what the chat is saying is that people are assuming it's Godwill, that we may not have a confirmation of that it was a whale wallet that's unknown. But when I went to the BankX website, which I would not recommend going to because it was like loading weird, and I'm sure that they're scammers. So, I mean, are you a scammer if you release terrible game theory that doesn't make any sense and you take people's money? Yeah. Yeah, I think you are. If you say that you have a stablecoin that's backed by silver and that's not how stablecoins work, yeah, it's pretty clear you're a scammer. I wanted to check myself on that. I wanted to challenge myself, but it's true. BankX is doing a Twitter space. Oh, great. Now the scammers are going to bring in more people. Hey, why don't you all keep listening to me and not listen to those scammers? Because, you know, I'm pretty sure you can get any information you need filtered through people who aren't going to fill your head with lies. RH must be watching. He retweeted it. Are you talking about my stream? Interesting. I only have one bar of service, which is a little bit bad. I hope I'm not cutting out too bad for everybody. And I'm so far up in the chat. I hope I'm not missing anything. I do have about another 45 minutes or an hour that I can cover this. Because when you go to the Twitter space for BankX, then you like give them a bunch of clout. All your followers are going to go listen to them. And if they're saying a bunch of stuff that's not true, trying to trick you further, we know that's how scammers work. Scammers work by reloading schemes. So just don't do it. 50 minutes, don't do it. Block them now on Twitter. Do yourself a favor. RH retweeted Sami post you just showed and he responded. It's okay. Look, lots of people are watching right now, and you know, I think we're all trying to make sense of this, and we're all trying to understand what the community is thinking. I for one, think that this is a great reason to be having a Hex Therapy live. You know, is to try to control the panic and get the information that people need out there. You know, there are sometimes in the past 132 weeks that I went live every Thursday night. We didn't have that much to talk about. Tonight we do. Who's buying more Hex? I am, says PulseChain Adam. I mean, yeah. I think there are a lot of people setting limit orders now. Wow, bro. I would have 5555 800 million Hex. Yeah. Hey, you know, if how about this? How about if BankX wants to not be scammers, why don't they time lock all the Hex right now? That'd be cool. If they want to prove that they're not scammers, go ahead. I'll give you the website. It's called go.hex.com/stake. And there's even a little button on there, I believe, that is called max. So you can hit the max button, and I can already see you have enough Ethereum in your wallet to pay for the transaction fee. So there you go. Go time lock all your HEX, BankX, and then come back and talk to us. We'll see whether you're scammers or not, right? Yeah, where can I set a limit order on PLS? I don't know that there are places to set limit orders on a Pulse chain, but remember that it's the hex on Ethereum that is affected, and that is where people have the ability to set limit orders. For example, on 1inch.io, and that's like the number one, inch.io. And then another place that I use is called matcha.xyz. And those are both places where you can go set a limit order, and hopefully you get. Yeah, David Morales, he says putting in a limit order as we speak. Yeah, look at that. Pretending that they got hacked. LOL. Where is Mintra? I haven't seen anything on them. I think they said they're still coming out with stuff. Is this real or am I dreaming? To be determined. David says what's up with matcha thing isn't the same anymore. Yeah, they came out with a new interface, I believe. That's known to me. I heard people talking about that yesterday. What did I miss? Rewind. That's what 2x is for. I mean, yeah, EHEX, PHEX. Look, again, meat on the bone, the design intention. One of the features of PulseChain is that the Ethereum copy and the PulseChain copy trade at different prices, and they attract traders who have short-term mentalities. And remember, all of us, the people who have long-term mentalities, who aren't freaking out right now about the price of EHEX or PHEX because we didn't put in more than we could afford to lose, and because we're long-term believers, and because we knew that all these things could happen. It's a miracle that any of this works, and but it keeps going, and it's the moments when everybody else is fearing the most that you can benefit the most by considering the information at hand, right? Everybody who's setting a limit order at 0.0001 or 0.00005 for the all-time low of hex ever, or 0.000005, like those are the MVPs who might come out of this like feeling really good. But that takes risk. There's a new Sami tweet. Let me take a look here. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Remember that you can take care of yourself, use self-care, you can take deep breaths, you can go for a walk outside if it's a nice day, you can get some sleep, exercise, eat healthy, make your favorite food, look on Google for a big list of healthy activities. You can talk to somebody who knows what you're freaking out about. You can talk to somebody who doesn't know what you're freaking out about. You can esteem yourself, right? Exercise, that's one thing that works for me when I get into a mood. Sami tweeted 6 minutes ago, BankX got given 800 million hex from Godwell and now want to chat with Richard Hart. BankX tweeted, we would like to chat with you, Richard. We don't want the price of something we all love to fall. Okay, so they're obviously trying to scam their way into like an over-the-counter deal or some weird thing that I don't think Richard is going to negotiate with terrorists, but what I would like to see is BankX to time lock their shit and stop effing around. How about that? scammers. See, now that makes me a little bit upset. Don't, yeah. Not cool. Not cool, guys. Hex is down almost 99%. Gerardo, so Rift says Gerardo said Solidity audit is complete, but I think that Pixel Park will beat him to market. Never thought the day I'm buying, says Yellowtail at 0.008 Hex. Who's ready for big payday prices? So remember that Hex, day one, when people were told not to buy, day one FOMO, I made a $20 NFT badge for people who did this. I did not buy on day one, but this is back a couple years ago now. I made a day one FOMO badge for people to take, to celebrate their misery of buying Hex on day one was a third of a penny, I believe. And then by day 33, it had gone down already over 90%, down to 0.00005. That's 4 zeros and a 5. Pretty easy to remember. And, people were freaking out. People were wrecked. I bought it on day 3. I had to watch my Hex bag go down 70%, 80%, right? And I bought a little bit more along the way. But then right after big payday, because Hex had hit a penny right before big payday, and then it went up higher than a penny for a little while. And then after big payday, it went sideways at about 0.3 cents. Again, a third of a penny. So, but when somebody's getting ready to dump $7 million worth of EHEX, and there's only $1 million or $2 million in the liquidity pool, the price can go lower than you think it can. Black Swan event, EHEX didn't do anything wrong. What did Richard say? He has me blocked. Yeah, I guess I should go and look. Okay, 10 minutes ago, Richard said, Ethereum, you don't save on gas fees by paying gas on a bad deal chain and a good deal chain. You save on gas by just paying on the good deal chain. Layer 2s on ETH all loaded up its consensus layer with gas fees. PulseChain.com doesn't. Vitalik Buterin wrote something. This was on 5/21/2023. So about a week or two ago, around the time right after PulseChain launched, Vitalik wrote something at his blog, Vitalik, VITALIK.ca. That's his blog. Let me share this. And the preview of what Vitalik said is, don't overload Ethereum's consensus. The Ethereum network's consensus is one of the most highly secured systems out there, blah, 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 $34 billion worth. Okay, so Richard is quoting something. This almost makes me think he's saying, let me back up. Is Richard saying with this tweet, PulseChain is better than Ethereum, or PulseChain might have lower fees than Ethereum, or you shouldn't load up everything that you're doing on just PulseChain? I mean, that goes back to the whole point I was saying earlier. Like, what's the point of PulseChain? The point of PulseChain is to have lower fees, to have a copy of all your assets over there so that you can watch the volatility go in your favor, I hope. Right? that you can provide liquidity in certain situations. And liquidity farm, that's all good stuff. No expectations from the work of others. Exactly. If RH won't stream, whole ecosystem bleeds. Well, you know what? I don't have any expectations, and I'm doing just fine. That's also a little bit upsetting to me that people are expecting the founder to stream. I think that it's up to him, and he doesn't owe us anything because we sacrificed. Remember? Do you guys remember what sacrifice means? It means like you don't expect anything. When you send your coins to another address on the blockchain, there's nothing more clear than that you're getting rid of those tokens and you don't have control of them anymore. It's really clear. Blood on the streets. There you go. What day was the copies made of Hex and ETH coins? Anyone know? It was on like the 12th or the 13th of May. Hex Farmer says, "Hey Maddie, love your Thursday night streams. Appreciate it. Thanks for watching. This is a juicy one." I think EHEX is doomed. That's what people always said that Bitcoin was dead. I don't know. I think that we're about to find out how doomed it is or if it's doomed. The experts said Hex to multiple dollars. Did they say what timeline? Oh, you got blocked for asking for a live stream? Okay, well, maybe you shouldn't have had expectations. Most of us sold. People were saying like buy the blood, like, well, those coins are still out there, presumably getting ready to sell. Literally the best thing that could happen right now is BankX time locks those for like 15 years. Or they could send them to a burn address. That'd be cool too. Hey, BankX scammers, why don't you send your tokens to a burn address? Thanks. Bye. Doing nothing has been one of the worst strategies for almost 2 years now. Okay, well, maybe not literally nothing. If you let your hex stakes bleed out for 2 years, yeah, that'd be a pretty bad strategy. You do have to click some buttons. No one is going to sell at these prices. Fast forward 6 months and this will be forgotten. I'm just reading out what people are saying, okay? But they are selling at these prices. Super Hex, hey, good to meet up with you yesterday. Met up with you, Dollar Cost Crypto, and a handful of other really great people. And I really enjoyed getting dinner with you all and talking about Hex and PulseChain and PulseX. Shout out to everybody who was there at our little impromptu meetup here in Las Vegas that we planned kind of last minute. All I know is I just got some PLS, PLSX, and EHEX for dirt cheap just now. If it goes any lower, I will buy more. Spoken like a true G. More updates from Sami 2. I guess BankX is doing a live stream. I'm not going to watch because I'm not going to wreck my users. If it gets recorded, maybe I'll listen on replay, but I'm not going to give them a live listen because I'm not going to lead my Twitter followers into the woodshed on a reloading scheme. Just a moment. I'm in like a group incubator type space right now, so every once in a while I just have to say, "Hey, remember I'm live streaming right now." Okay. Marco the Hexkin says, so far nothing was sold from the BankX side. They will do spaces on Saturday. Okay. Definitely not going to watch that live. Benny said they sold 10 million hex already. Ultimate cope. I'm a little behind, but Maddie hit the nail on the head. There are many purposes for PulseChain, but ratio trading was one of the main purposes, in my opinion. Trying to spin this as good news is coping hard, bro. Yeah, if I said that this was good news, then that wasn't the full context. Or if you're replying to somebody in the comments, maybe they were being sarcastic, or maybe they really believe that. I think you need a variety of people who have a variety of different sentiments and attitudes. Some people get really hungry when there's blood in the streets. Some people really like it. Again, with this scenario that I painted, if BankX, if they time lock their coins, if they burn them, right, that'd be literally the best case scenario. I find that highly unlikely, but that's what I'm rooting for, because then you would imagine that the price could recover much quicker. I don't think that PHEX was sacrificed. No, RH is not the god of oil. I'm not going to read the rest of that, but what's up, Wake Dog? BankX sold 10 million hex. Okay. Somebody said maybe dropping a movie about Richard wearing expensive watches will turn this around. That's a little bit funny. Because can I explain to you guys what the watch is, what the metaphor is that I'm picking up on? So if somebody has $10 million of Rolexes, do you think that, and let's say that you imagined that they had $700 million of stable coins that you could see on chain, and they had billions of dollars of HEX and PulseChain and PulseX, like, and there's only $10 million of liquidity in the liquidity pool. Why would somebody who has $10 million in cars and $10 million in watches, why would they take the $10 million out of the liquidity pool for the thing that they created, that their legacy is tied up in? And this, for those of you who don't watch on Tuesday nights, this is called game theory. It's like super important. It's what all of crypto is based on. It's what makes magic internet money real internet money. And it's what makes our made up imaginary internet money better than the government's made up imaginary internet money. So, you know, take notes if you're behind, I guess. If you're, you know, if you're never going to get it, then get out, like leave the stream, don't return. Please leave my channel if you can't understand the words coming out of my mouth. Don't let the like button hit you on the way out. Yeah. And if you're just joking, I guess it's kind of funny given that we all know what's up here. We all know what the Rolexes are. And it's pretty ingenious if you ask me, like the outrage marketing stuff when it comes to the Rolexes. Like the Rolexes, it's a watch. It's a symbol of time. And it's, you know, when Richard was buying the watches, it was time for you to be, I don't know, figuring out that the market was at the top, figuring out that you could time like your hex and earn trustless yield, figuring out any of the things, like any of the literally 1 million things that Richard was teaching you. He wrote a book that was hundreds and hundreds of pages long. I think when you combine like Sci-Vive and Fix the World, I think it's like 700 pages or something. Okay. So then there's hundreds of hours of live streams. So I particularly liked that comment from MF Hex. It just reminds us, like, what's up? The documentary is probably full of footage of high EHEX prices, so I doubt it will release now. I disagree. I mean, look, in the preview, you could see the sizzle reel and the trailer. You could see that one of the characters that was portrayed, he said to his wife, like, it's like imaginary quarters. So we know that he may have bought Hex at 25 cents. A lot of people did. But I think some of that was sacrificed for PulseChain or PulseX. So sucks to be in at 50 cents. That's right. Everybody's saying they just tweeted Richard. That was like 30 minutes ago. You guys really think Richard is going to let EHEX die? We don't know. We don't have any expectations. It's a free market. If people want to sell Hex at really low prices, then believers might buy that up, and there might be more meat on the bone. So it might not be a bad thing if you have a long enough timeline. Again, look at me. Look at this guy. I have more Hex than any other asset, and I am not sweating it. I'm not upset. I'm not freaking out. Which is definitely weird. It's definitely a weird thing to say, but there aren't many other cryptocurrencies out there where people are time locked and can just be super consistent by streaming every Thursday night for 132 weeks. Yeah, I like. You can't have it both ways. You can't have a line that goes straight up and then still have opportunity for people left in the game. So, look, I'm one of the people who will take the last little bit of my dry powder and buy a Hex at super low prices. So, you cannot have it both ways. You don't get the price going in a straight line up forever. Less complaining, more buying. If you don't have any dry powder, ignore all the FUD. There you go. I like that. Fast Abdul, yo, what's up, bro? He said, how am I supposed to scam people if I can't post links? That's right. You'll have to work your way up to moderator, and then you can try. BankX hasn't sold. Their project might be a scam, but all that has happened is Godwill. It's sacrifice to them. What does that say about Godwill? We don't know. We don't know if it's Godwill. I've seen rumors, but I haven't seen confirmation. But BankX is a scam. I met the founder. I'm convinced. Sorry. I don't like to be the bearer of bad news, but I told you before. I told you after I met him. Okay. Yeah, I bet they do. A lot of people want to talk to Richard, but I would imagine he doesn't negotiate with terrorists or scammers. Oh yeah. Also, BankX people, when you go to like burn or time lock your Hex tokens so that we stop calling you scammers, if go.hex.com/stake isn't working, you can use my front end, go.tshare.app. Thank you. I don't charge any fees on my front end. You're welcome. I mean, also, all right, I guess I could present another situation. So if, I don't even know if I should joke about this, but BankX, you could send all your Hex tokens to Maddie.eth. You could send them to the Hex sacrifice address. I'm just trying to be creative here because somebody needs to burn those tokens. That's all I'm saying. The Godwell is a known address, but it's multiple addresses, I can tell you at least. And there was some question like, there were some people posting earlier in the chat that said that they thought it might not be the Godwell, so we have to give that a little bit of credit. Because remember, blockchain is pseudo-anonymous. RC King 911 says, I just got 30K into EHEX. Let's go. Got to tune up that flex capacitor. That's right, T Gray. Says Ash, am I the only person not bothered by this because I don't see him selling PHEX at all? Just telling the market how much he values EHEX now, that's all. Some people are shorting HEX. It's risky. Gavin's going to buy more EHEX tomorrow. Rich Wealth says, RH is the GOAT. Everybody needs to not get their pennies in a wad. Trust the man. While others see FUD, Reggie Bone says, I see opportunity. Look at all these. See, I've seen these names in the live chat for years. That's who comes out. People come out of the woodwork when they're like, oh, cheap HEX, tell me more. Thanks for all you do, Maddie. Valuable content. Terry Hardcastle said, did BankX just tweet a friendly ransom note to Richard? Yes, Terry Hardcastle, they did. They're scammers. Brandon Feast says, I'm honestly sick of the words liquidity and bonding. And that the chat is keeping it fresh. Everyone said you let the market decide. Well, markets are deciding. Yeah. Markets are deciding, everyone. 10 million HEX was dumped. So how much is that? A million HEX is what, like $10,000 at a penny? So that's like $100,000. That's a very small percent of their bag. Thanks, Maddie, for the calm, reasoned analysis. Keeping some dry powder very wise. Thanks for the comment, Sparky. Marco the Hexakin, all I would say is let's just wait till Saturday to see what bank says. Not smart to poke folks holding on to 800 million HEX at the moment. Okay, I'm going to poke them a little bit. The HEX that was yeah, and like I hope when they do their live stream, I hope like the Department of Justice like busts in their door. I don't say that lightly. 369 people watching. Hit the like and subscribe button. I hope that you leave a comment on replay if you're part of the replay gang. The HEX that was sacrificed for BankX originated from a known Godwill wallet ending in 666D, then moved to 2DDA2, which sent the 830 million HEX. Godwill confirmed, says Cryptographics. I agree. The 666D address is known. Crypto King, why is there even more HEX going into that address after the 830 million HEX? That is an incredibly good question, Crypto King. There were, a couple million HEX that were added here and there, even after the Godwill sacrificed. That was earlier today, for those of you keeping track. I also put in a link in the description below to like the original tweet of Sami breaking the story that I found, and then also to the Etherscan address for, I think, the Godwill, and then you have to click to the ERC 20s tab, and then you have to click to where 830 million HEX was sent. Yeah, but it's weird that the Godwill wallet was sending more HEX even an hour ago. So maybe somebody needs to like call the Godwill and let him know that it's a scam and that he shouldn't keep sacrificing. He or she. I mean, I don't have his number, but maybe somebody does. Anyway, okay. So maybe I just sent a tweet to somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. Okay, so IQ test requirement now mandatory for all sacrifices. So what exactly happened? Godwill sent millions of EHEX to scammers. Why would he dump today? Maybe he thought it was legitimate. Everything is going to be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end, says Unplugged Dad. I like that. Let's see if there's anything else happening on our Twitter notifications at the moment. Somebody's tweeting this out, sharing that I'm still alive. Appreciate that. When you hit like the retweet button on Twitter of this live stream, it helps get it out there to people who need to be calmed down or to Godwell, so he'll stop sending. Richard posted, if you're having problems with go.hex.com, post here. Ignore all the imposters and scammers that will be responding here to scam you and probably DMing you. Good advice. Yeah, if you're having problems, my front end should be working. It's go.tshare.app. It would be amazing if they staked it all. Just woke up. WTF is going on? Yeah, rewind gang. BankX is asking to talk to Richard. Yeah, that's dumb. Whole RH ecosystem is a fire sale. What happened to metric.exchange? Is that still around? That's one that Crypto Coffee has talked about previously. Gavin says, I like Hex on both chains. Yeah, I'm trying to catch up here. I'm freaking out that I have no more dry powder all deployed now. Love these prices, says Mick Slayman. A lot of people in that situation. That's the unfortunate situation. You sit back and get the popcorn out or practice self-care. HexTherapy.live style. FUD is indeed an opportunity. Thanks for the news, Maddie. Send it back to Godwell. See, James is talking now. There you go, James. See, they don't have to send it to Maddie.eth. They can just send it to Godwell. Going to bed for the next year and see you all then. LOL. The best way to live. You look so sad, Maddie. I mean, I think that there are some people wrecked from this, so that might be why. Thanks for the $5 super chat, Falcon Crypto. I think you said that they hadn't dumped any, but they did dump 10 million hex. Not much, but let's see what they do. Yeah, so 10 million hex divided by 830 million is 1.2% of the bag. So I was rounding down, I guess. But the chat is keeping me honest. I got one of your day one FOMO badges, the only NFT I own, says David. There you go. Hex needs to do a live stream right now. Hey, what do you think I'm doing? Crypto Down Under. Although I don't work for Hex, there is no company. Sorry to all who started buying Hex at 56 cents. No comparison. Thanks for the reality check, says Matt. Pull the band-aid off already, says Rectangle. Bristology says Richard is playing the EHEX liquidity. That's super interesting. Thanks for sharing that. Hex was designed to keep whales out and from getting out without a ton of money. Well put, Bristology. Where's Johnny? He's saying what Vitalik said, loading up the network with layer 2s is not the answer. I literally knew the scammers would be plotting while we're celebrating PulseChain launch. Always antagonists. PLS about to hit sack price. Bristology says, I think what he's saying, you got to go through bad gas fees in order to get to the lower gas fee area. Layer 1 is like a Mad Max wasteland. Great shiny new token lesson for all. Keep the good stuff. Hit the like and share link. Don't be mean to Johnny. He puts himself out there more than you do. What's up, man? How about we stop calling the people that literally have the ability to dump the price scammers until we figure this out? No. They're scammers. People need to stop sending them money. Godwill is still sending them money. Are you looking on chain cryptographics? There was more sent an hour ago. So we need to call them scammers. Somebody needs to text the Godwell and be like, bro, what's up? You okay? And if they want to dump the price, that's the best thing that could happen. In my opinion, you're welcome to say something different. Hex Asians in the house. What's up, Crypto King? What's up, Lena? Vegas gang. I sacked. I'm not pissed. Bristology is probably not talking about Pulse or not talking about BankX. Talking about something else. Yeah, lots of people watching. I think we're going to be okay. Is selling ERC20s a scam? Quality discussion. Not sure what you mean. I think it's kind of coincidental that the SEC FUD is lingering at the same time that this is happening. Yeah, I mean, like, the SEC just went after Binance yesterday. That's big news. And Coinbase. Imagine that. Bristology accumulating more. Goes to show that the cheaper chains aren't worth it. ETH and BTC seem to be bosses. Let's check the price. Daily stats. I mean, it's almost pointless to check the price because those tokens haven't dumped yet. But the price of EHEX is sitting at 0.7 of a penny, and PulseChain 1.3 cents. For PHEX or for hex on PulseChain 1.3 cents. PLS 0.0000109, and PulseX price is 4 zeros and a 4 after that. So 0.00004. I'm starting to catch up here. Robert says, my Rolex will always be made by Casio, but that is just context. That's kind of funny. BankX scam is like they said that they made a stablecoin based on holding silver. And that's not how stablecoins work, and it's not how crypto works. And there's no reason to sacrifice for that either, in my opinion. Maddie, has a coin ever recovered from 99% down? I'd say it's pretty rare. but Hex has made history a lot of other ways. And if you combine the price of both Hexes, it's not, I don't think it's down 99%. Maybe it's down 97%. And has a coin gotten back up after 97% down? Maybe. But it's, these are juicy prices if you're a long-term believer. That's for sure. Crypto King says, I like KDP's response to BankX tweet directly to RH. I don't even really want to look for it. I don't want to give them any clout. Like, I appreciate KDP, but maybe somebody can type in here what it was. These are just cycles, folks. If this is your first time, then I understand your sentiment. It says Hexbula. The thing is that these have always been the best times to buy. Do what you want to do with this info. I'm going to have to go pretty soon here. This is going to continue to develop. Robert says, thank you, Matty, for showing up and carrying this matters. People say dollar cost averaging. People still talking about everything, all the news on Twitter and that kind of thing. Hey, it's Johnny Chaos. Good to see you there, my friend. Good to see you, Johnny. Bobby Huxelrod, good to see you there. Telling everybody, sell all your hex. I'm buying the dip, he says. Thank you for your service. If you guys were in crypto since 2017 or 2018, these times remind me of when Jamie Dimon and the Chinese government were flooding BTC and crypto, says Joshua Ramsey. RH told us these highs and low lows would happen. What more can we say? MF Hex said, for clarification, Maddie, I was joking about dropping the expensive watches movie. Did not expect to hit a nerve. Why is everybody so on edge as if we never dumped before? Well, I didn't get too offended there. It was more, it definitely hit a nerve. I can see your name and your profile picture and everything made me think that you were, possibly just joking or whatever. But yeah, I think it was a good reminder for me to tell people why the $10 million of Rolexes might be a little bit different than it appears at the surface. So there you go. Isn't Hex still up 70x from 2019? That sounds better than 99% down, says PulseChain Adam. Respect. Great point. Very good. This is the heart of the community. There's only 800 million Hex that can dump to zero. That's why. There you go. So to recap, the Godwell, it appears, sacrificed 830 million Hex to a scam called BankX. I had met the founder of BankX and said that it was a scam on my stream previously, but that was a long time ago, maybe about 9 months ago. The community's freaking out. The price of EHEX was already dipping earlier today because RH said that the market will decide. And if you go back and listen to this stream, it's an hour and a half long, but I think it's got a lot of really good information in it. So I'd recommend that you do that. I'd recommend that you practice self-care and look after yourself during these trying times. We know that the price of crypto can go up and down more than we expect or more than we want. And that's where the opportunities are made. And that's where people have to make their own decisions. So I hope that this was helpful for you. And I hope you take care of yourself. I am good. So until next time, stake wisely, my friends, and peace out.
It's from ALLin of HexTherapy.live. I like Maddie. Maddie tries to make the world a healthier place. He's a mental health professional. He's done research.
Big videos on sudden wealth syndrome.
There's nothing that a human being can do better than try and heal his fellow man.
ALLin's got that covered. Does emotional, feel good, mind management, emotion stuff like as his gig because he's a therapist. That's what he does for a living. Like he helps heal people.